Thank you very much for joining us. My name is Roy Kirshner, and today we're going to be talking about the secrets to success in 2025. Little bit of background on me. My name is Roy Kirshner. I am a serial entrepreneur. I own a company here in Tampa, Florida called Ultimate 3D Printing Store and grew it to be one of the top companies in the United States for 3D printing, additive manufacturing. I actually was the sixth fastest growing company in Tampa Bay by the Tampa Bay Business Journal in 2021. So we had some rapid growth, and I'm looking forward to today. I'm going to move it on to Spencer.
I'm Spencer Beaudreault. I'm a marketing expert and specialist. I'm the co-founder and partner at the Flying Goat Agency based here in Tampa, Florida. We're a pretty quickly growing agency in the marketing realm, so we're excited for 2025 and all the growth that's to come.
It's hard to top Flying Goat. It really is. So my name's John Hanson. I use the middle initial D to differentiate on online and part of my personal brand. I do a combination of public speaking, workshop facilitation, writing books. But the thing I'm most passionate about is helping entrepreneurial, forward-thinking small businesses, 100 employees or less, grow, achieve their potential. And I do that through business coaching, leveraging those relationships inside and outside their business so they can achieve the goals they have for themselves. So I love LinkedIn. It's been a platform that's changed my life, so I consider myself to be somewhat of a LinkedIn guru. But I especially love talking with like-minded, entrepreneurial, growth-minded people because, boy, the time flies, and then the conversations and the ideas and the inspiration, you leave those conversations fired up and ready to just take on the world. So I knew that a conversation with Roy and Spencer is going to be that. And the ones that get a chance to tune in, whether it be the replay, but especially join us live, they're going to come away with, I think the greatest thing you'll come away with is there's all kinds of ideas out there. But like what were best practices, what not to do. But most importantly, I think you'll get this fire just kindled inside of you of that if these guys, especially me, can accomplish some of the things they've achieved, I can do it too. And I think that's the encouragement we want people to have from a conversation like this.
Absolutely. So, John, let's actually have you start off, my friend. Give us a couple secrets to success
Well, they aren't sexy.
that you're
So,
doing
and
for
you're
2025.
yeah, and you're not going to get sexy from me. So I'll just tell you that up front. But I will tell you this: that if you're consistent at the right things, the consistency is it counts. But it's just like practice doesn't make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect. So if you're going to be consistently, constantly doing something, you want to make sure it's the right thing, and that's where the best practices come in. But if you're working with a business coach and or a mentor or both, and I recommend both, like I have, then you'll know what best practices are. You've got trusted soundboards that'll tell you, all right, you're on the right track. Stay with it. It's going to take longer than you think. And that's what I'd tell you number one is it's going to take longer than you think. Because social media tells you overnight success. It tells you viral. You're going to go viral. You're going to explode. You're going to take off. And Roy, you know the challenges that come when you do take off and grow faster than you expect. It is not what people think it is. So understand it's going to take longer than you think. Be consistent with what those next best steps are, not from what you think, not from what social media tells you, from trusted advisors that you have in your life. Mentors, typically ones who are 2, 3, 4, 5 steps ahead of you that are happy to pay it forward and give back. Do you know how many people would love to mentor somebody who's coachable, who come to them with, say, what should I do? What should I not do? Here's where I'm at. What do you think? And then they actually do what they recommend. There are plenty of successful mentors out there that would love to work with somebody who's forward thinking and growth minded that's actually coachable. So I'd say that it's going to take longer than you think, but you've got to be consistent with the right things. And that's where the value of a trusted advisor, whether that be a coach you're paying or a mentor, my life is full with more and more people like that because I know that's going to be a key to beating the goals that I have for myself is that.
Absolutely. Spencer, you want to tell us a little secrets to the key to success?
Yeah, for sure. And John, I love that, man, because, you know, the information that I've gotten from mentors in my life is so invaluable, right? It's things that people have already gone through, people that
Right.
are already successful in their realms, that they give those little nuggets to you that you just like. Sometimes those little nuggets can take 3 years to learn, and they completely expedite the process of your growth. And that's one of the biggest things that like I'll tell younger individuals that want to be entrepreneurs, and that are hustlers and grinders, and they're trying to figure it out after college. Hey, go seek out a mentor. Like go buy him lunch, go buy him coffee. Like build rapport with these people, because it's super important, and that's going to help you so much. It helped me, and it seems like it helped both of you. But what I would say is, for one of my tips, if we want to kind of keep it within the realm of LinkedIn, since we're doing a LinkedIn live, a lot of people, so one of the services that we offer with Flying Goat Agency is we do LinkedIn business development campaigns. And the way that I kind of framed it in the beginning was more so like lead generation, but I kind of pivoted away from that and started framing it as business development, because that's more so what it is. And it's a perfect platform to what I call like network like a pro, right? So I highly recommend in 2025 more people get on the LinkedIn platform and start networking with people as much as possible. So there's ways that we can do it in a somewhat like automated fashion, but not too automated, just to kind of do some of the what we call like monkey work that you don't necessarily need to do manual, but you have to, like when you're building rapport with people, you have to have that in-person touch to actually like tug on heartstrings or find commonalities and stuff like that, and really put some effort and time into that. Because I can't tell you how many people, especially like potential clients, that will come into our agency and they're like, oh well, I don't even use LinkedIn, or I haven't used my profile in X amount of years. I get it all the time, the same exact response from everybody. So there's so much untapped potential for people, for professionals to get on this platform and start spending some time there to network.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Completely
great.
agree.
You know, and I think mine, I'll start out by secrets to success I'm going to go by it day by day. So I think one of the most important things is, one, getting a good night's sleep, but then two, how do you start your day successful? And one of the things that I recommend people to do when they wake up in the morning is, if you're not that type of person that's just you have a list of what you're doing and you're motivated, um, you know, literally one of the things that I find myself doing, if I don't feel like I'm in the right frame of mind when I wake up, I literally just go into a room and I put on, YouTube, and put on like motivational videos, Denzel Washington, Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah.
And I get in this unbelievable mindset, right? That one is filling me up with a whole bunch of energy and joy. And you have to remember, if you're doing that, anybody else, like if you're doing that right when you wake up, and let's say nobody else is awake, or let's say you wake up earlier than anybody else, as soon as somebody else, like your spouse or your kids, wake up, it's going to put you in this frame of mind, right? It's going to put you in this, your mindset is already there, where the first thing out of your mouth to them is a positive thing. It's a good mindset, which gets them in a good mindset, right? Which is going to start your day this way. So it's a secret that I've just constantly used in my life, that like literally, and I think the most important thing is that, right? Like, if it's motivating, man, it's getting my blood circulating, it's getting me going. So some people, it may be a book or an audible. Me, it's got to be something like I'm ready to turn on the TV high blast and like hear it, just to get me going, right? To get me started in the morning. And another one is time management is one of the most important things in the world. You have to value your time, right? You have to value, and I don't say every second, but you got seconds, you got minutes, you got hours, and then you got a day, right? So there's, from the second you wake up to the second you go to bed, you literally have to make sure that you put a dollar amount to your time and you're spending your time wisely. I think that's one of the most important things I could tell you for success is really, make sure 100% that you are, spending your time correct. So it's it's that way, you know what I mean, that you have that capability to do that type of stuff. And then I'll lead and let John give a little bit more advice.
Yeah, totally. The mindset, it's kind of like how we frame our day. So a practice I started several years ago is first thing when I'm pulling out of the driveway, I call them gratitudes. The three things I'm grateful for, minimum, that happened the day before. It has to be fresh. I can't recycle them. If I have been thankful for that specific thing, then it's a bonus. It's on top of. But it has to be. It's forcing me to look back at and reflect on what did I gain? What were the things that were highlights in that day? And then it's also then getting me ready to frame the day that's coming. I'm going to be looking for, because I've trained myself now, I'm going to be looking for those things that are highlights of my day. So tomorrow morning when I pull out of the driveway, I've got at least three things that happened in my day that I'm grateful for. So mindset really matters because it frames your day. So what you're saying, Roy, is so true because it's infectious for us and for others. The other thing is that mindset, what we think, then affects what we believe. And why belief is so important is because belief is what determines our actions. What I truly believe determines my action. So if somebody says that they think that they're highly successful, but their actions reveal that they don't believe that, then it's just a front. It's just an act. They don't believe it. And so my belief then drives my actions. I believe that I am growing in success and impact and influence and income. And if you look back at the actions that I've taken and the results that I've achieved, they match up. Why? Because I believed it. There may have been times where I didn't necessarily feel it, but that doesn't matter. It matters what I believe. Belief drives my actions. So your mindset, how you start the day, is absolutely important because that's the foundation you're building on, and every day is a fresh opportunity to build on what you built the day before or to start from scratch if it didn't go so well or according to plan. So I totally agree with that. And then, Spencer, to your point, I did a TEDx-style talk on Marco Island, Florida last spring, and I did a deep dive into learning even more about LinkedIn. I know how to use it, but I wanted to really learn about it. And it was fascinating. It's the most trusted, most powerful B2B tool on the planet. If you're not using it, you are automatically behind everybody else that is. Even if they're using it poorly, they're still using it. So if there are business owners, thought leaders, doesn't matter if your client could be on LinkedIn, I think it's also a powerful personal branding tool. I can't think of a better platform out there. Facebook is getting dated. They have excellent data, but it's getting dated. So if you are in the business arena, I can't think of a more trusted, more powerful platform than LinkedIn. And so what you're saying, it does have to be shocking. If you're in business, but you aren't doing anything with LinkedIn, to me, that's incomprehensible. It's changed my life, literally. And I can't imagine what it'd be like. In 2016, I get it. I had nothing. I was in a corporate role. All the business came to me. But when I got into B2B sales for the first time, and I actually looked into what LinkedIn was, I'm like, this is a game changer. This is going to take me where I want to go. And I did. I beat the record by 30%. Having never sold B2B or in that industry before, it's not because I could sell you this pen. I'm not the wolf of Main Street. No, it's because I earned trust. I followed through. I built relationships, but most importantly, I leveraged the heck out of all the tools available to me, and LinkedIn is one of those. I highly, highly, highly recommend LinkedIn. You've got to get active on that platform.
Yeah, I love that. That changed my life too. Like, there's so many moves that I was able to make in just different businesses and even with clients, right? Through LinkedIn, right? Like I was able to raise capital, by reaching out to investors. Investors are very active on LinkedIn, right? In the real estate space, and then also in the cannabis space, right? Specifically. And then, just for clients, I've seen, running these very detailed campaigns for all different types of businesses really gave me a behind the scenes outlook on like who's active on LinkedIn, like what you could potentially do with certain, industries and job titles and stuff like that. So I have a very interesting outlook, and I love that you're a LinkedIn nerd, because I am as well.
Self-professed, yes.
Yeah, no, me too, man. Like like sometimes I kind of bore people with my talk on LinkedIn, just because I've done so many like impactful things, and I see, right? I see clearly, which, somebody that doesn't use the platform regularly as I do, they don't see that. So they don't have they're not looking through the same lens as I am. So I think it goes down to like, what we were saying with mentors, like they go through all of these things and they see so much and they get so much data. You have to lean on that a little bit and respect that perspective, because it's so much data, right? And then Roy, dude, you tugged on a heartstring with me with the whole motivational, like podcast or whatever, like, that you're listening to, because I started doing the same thing back, I want to say like mid-November, because full disclosure, I like when the holidays come and we start having like a shift in the daylight, right? Like it gets darker earlier, it gets a little bit colder. Everybody kind of goes into their own hubs and their homes, and they're with their families, and they kind of disconnect from, the go-getter like hustler world. I kind of get into a funk. I get into like, I don't necessarily want to call it like a holiday depression, because it's not as serious as a depression, but I get into a funk, right? And then I start getting into my head, and then I kind of get like separated from people. But what I started doing is something that I did back when, I was, playing high school football, college football, to where I would listen to like motivational videos, like the Eric Thomases of the world and people like that. Where so I have this motivation podcast on SoundCloud that sometimes I'll listen to in the car, right? And it's like, you want to like surround yourself with like-minded people, and you want to like get that energy. Like this is a really easy way to like hear that, positive stuff to kind of get you going, because you might be, your own worst enemy, like with your thoughts and the way that you're thinking. But if you're listening to somebody say such positive and motivating stuff, it really just kind of like changes your energy. And then when you react with other people, Roy, you're 100% right. Like that energy will then, feed into them. And I think that just really helps kind of, iron out your life, in my opinion.
Yeah. And I think, like you said, I mean, to start out 2025, people, set all these resolutions, right?
Yeah.
And then we know a lot of them don't stay with their resolutions.
February
so
13th.
Oh, it's my birthday.
Quitting day. February 13th.
Yeah.
Did you say it's your birthday?
So
February 13th, yeah.
that's funny.
Oh, that's interesting.
That's very
Hey, nothing against. Hey, I know you're not a quitter. If you got a flying goat on the side of a cyber truck, you're not a quitter. So I know that doesn't apply to you, Spencer. But that's quitting day, apparently. January 1, going to change the world, and like, well, not this year, I guess. For some.
Yeah.
So Roy,
yeah.
you talked about starting off your day. You talked about, and Spencer's talked about energy. I'd like you to share kind of the best practices you gained from that time when your business did take off. Fast 50 in the Tampa area, the 6th fastest growing company. People think, oh, I would love to have the 6th fastest growing company in my region. Okay, so first of all, pop the bubble on that myth, number one. Because if you're not prepared for it, it's not the same thing as growing to that or scaling like a gazelle does. So number one, pop that myth bubble for us. But secondly, what did you learn from that experience when it had to do with your energy? You talked about sleep. That's a big life hack right there that highly successful people get. So I was curious to hear that. Pop the myth for the people that are watching this. Pop the myth about, oh, I'd love to be fast 50. Like, if you got there overnight, there's a price to that. What did you learn from that experience?
Well, one I can definitely tell you is you're moving so fast.
Uh-huh.
It's like running a marathon every single day, right? Like a marathon. So by the time it was time for me to actually go to sleep, like
Wow.
I just passed out. Like, I just literally passed the freak out. Like, I was done. I was done. There was no more in me, because you are moving a million miles a minute, and I'm not joking. And everybody and everything is coming at you. And when you grow that fast, right? There's no way to put in what you call SOP, standard operating procedures. You know, there's no way to have even like to build culture. I mean, you're talking, we went from like 4 employees to 38 employees in less than 90 days.
Oh my gosh.
With like literally onboarding, hiring, training. I mean, you're just throwing bodies at it. We were that busy that we were just throwing bodies at it. So, it comes down to, you have to prioritize what is the most important thing, right? And then you try, and I'm just being honest, you try to accomplish one of those in a day, because what happens is you could walk into the office, like me, I would walk into the office and I would have a plan of what I was doing in a day, and that doesn't happen. It's like putting out fires. Then there's an emergency here, there's this here, there's that there, there's all these different types of things that are occurring, right? And first, those are, you've got to prioritize those, right? You have to send people away with an actual, what they think is an emergency, but it's not necessarily that. You have other things that are more urgent of an emergency, right? That you have to say. So a lot of it is, I didn't, it's interesting, because Alex Hormozy, I just listened right before I came onto this. It was like it was literally a clip, like a reel on Instagram, and it says, China has the 996 rule. So they work from 9 o'clock in the morning till 9 o'clock at night, 6 days a week.
Oh,
right?
Gosh.
That's the 996 rule. And it was so amazing to hear him actually bring that up, because that is the mindset of me. That's the mindset of a entrepreneur that has overcome obstacles and has, failed tremendously, and has overcome those failures, right? Is I literally started my career, my life in the car business, selling cars. And you live, breathe, and eat the dealership you work for. You're working all the time, right? When do people buy cars? Nights and weekends, right? And then you got to be there regular during the day. So you're constantly, you have this mindset, right? That you're programmed that way to work. And that's the thing that I want people to understand tremendously, right? Is in life, if you want something, you now the ability to achieve greatness is there, right? And I'm just gonna give you the secret, right? The secret is this. I mean, if you're trying to become bigger, stronger, better in a certain field, right? You have a job, or you want to have your own business, or whatever it is, become an SME, become a subject matter expert on the subject, or on what you're offering, right? And how do you do that, right? People say, well, how do you do that? Well, we just know there's so much content out there, right? Like it's easy. Just take an extra hour out of your day. If you get off work at 5, and you go home at, you get out of work and you go home, and your day ends at 5, in your day at 6, take another hour, sit in your car and listen to a podcast, read a book, right? Listen to something that is going to get you to the next level, right? That is going to fuel you to become a life student every single day and learn more about what you want, right? And allow you to achieve more, right? So it's all about the knowledge game, right? It's all about growing, and it's all about perseverance in getting that. So if you want to become more, it's in the biggest thing is loving what you do every single day, right? So that's the first. You gotta love what you do every single day. You have to love what you do, right? So if you love what you do, continue to do it. If you don't love what you do, you need to stop. Like, you need to stop. You only live one life, and life is truly short, right? So listen, I'm not no life coach, but I'm going to tell you right now, life is short, right? And you literally 100% need to do something that you enjoy, right? Because it's your day, man. It's your life, right? So you got to enjoy what you do. And then the second is, why not become the best at it? Like, why not? Like, what is the fear of becoming the best, right? What is the fear of gaining knowledge on a subject that you love, right? And just put the time, effort, and consideration in, right? I mean, I tell people all the time, I'm like, you get up at 7, get up at 6. You get up at 7, get up at 6:30. Spend 30 minutes a day filling yourself. 30 minutes. Go hide in a bathroom. I don't care. Go hide in your car. Like, if you got, family and different things, just take that time and gain more knowledge, right? And that is a secret to success, not just in 2025. That's a secret to success. Like, I didn't get to where I'm at because I didn't push through it, right? I didn't push through it and gain knowledge. And we can get into more, but I'm gonna turn it over to you guys now for a little bit.
Well, I was curious about this, Spencer, so I want to tee it up because I got a couple questions for you. One is the path to success. I'll go off a friend I had on a podcast I had for a couple seasons, and he said, in this case we were talking about customer experience. He said 5-star customer experience is simple, but it's not easy, because if it was easy, everybody would be doing it. It's not complex. It's not hard to figure out. It's just the difficulty of staying with it and pushing through the difficulty. And I wonder, the questions I have for you, Spencer, you mentioned, or maybe Roy mentioned, football, high school and college. Do you believe that doing that at different levels, so at each level it gets more demanding, right? Having done that at different levels, did that help, or was that a piece of your success, having the discipline that comes with athletics at those levels?
Oh, absolutely. That's the foundation of everything that has built me to what I am today. In high school, when I got in, freshman year, what are you going at 13, 14 in the high school? Every day in the summer, I did 2-a-days. While people were out in the pools, people were going on vacations, doing this, I was absolutely obsessed. All I wanted to do was, I had kind of like a tiered system, right? I wanted to, play on varsity sophomore year. Okay. Ended up being a starting quarterback. We went undefeated, went to the state championship, right? Wow. So I manifested that, and I manifested that just through my constant drive and almost obsession with what I was trying. Like, all I could see, it was like total tunnel vision. It's like, this is going to happen. I'm going to make sure it happens. So that was kind of like my journey, in the early part of high school. But then it got to a point okay, well, I want a Division I scholarship, right? So just that work, even I amped it up because, at the time I was a little bit shorter. They really want quarterbacks that are 6 foot or above, and I'm on that cusp. So I had to compensate in other ways by being athletic. So I just constantly training my speed, my strength, all of the things just to be a Division I caliber athlete. It doesn't even necessarily be a quarterback, but an athlete. So that proved to me in my life that if I am that, I use obsessed, and I don't think obsessed is a negative thing, right? So if you're
you're passionate about it.
You love what you do and what you're doing, and you're just so dialed in on that goal. That proved to me that I can apply that to other areas of my life not just in business, but like if we're going to frame it in, in business, right? Just kind of piggybacking off of what Roy says, like if you want to be an expert in one area, which, I did within like the marketing realm and, lead generation and, business development and all of that, I just zoned in and applied the same things that I learned, basically self-taught for myself with all the hard work, that I am now applying to my adult life and my business life.
Yeah, yeah. Well said. Yeah, that belief, that strength, and you've got to be the one that believes in yourself the most. If you're lacking in that area, no amount of effort is going to make up for that. Yes, effort alone is going to get you far than the ones not putting in any effort at all. But that's not the goals you have for yourself. You're not trying to be better than most. That's not your goal. Your goal is, I want to achieve this very specific uh, goal that requires a great deal to get there. And this is another thing I find about highly successful people. So I wrote a book about winning at life, and I interviewed highly successful people. And one thing that I found about them was the 12th inch was never the 12th inch, meaning that when they achieved that big goal, guess what? They started over again at inch one to go to the next 12th inch. They don't stay there and are like, hey, I've arrived. And then that highly successful people, and also on that journey, right, the progress, failure is a part of that. They understand that the setbacks are going to come, but that's figuring it out. They know that they're going to make progress if they look at it over the long term. I'm going to start after this thing, and it's going to take me time, but I'm going to accomplish it. On the way to accomplishing it, there's going to be things that don't work out. That's part of the learning curve. Failure is not the opposite of winning. Giving up is the opposite of winning because you're not trying at all. And that's where I find highly successful people get that. They celebrate it, absolutely, but then they on to the next thing, the next bigger thing. They don't go on to the next thing that's easier. They go on to the next thing that's more challenging, more
You fall
difficult.
in love with the process. Like you fall in
Yeah.
love with that growth process, right? Like, I heard Gary Vee mention something a couple days ago. I saw it on Instagram, and he had mentioned micro failures lead to macro
Oh,
wins, right?
oh, I
So
like
I
that.
thought that was a really good analogy and like a really good way to frame that thought. I'm not afraid personally. I'm not afraid to fail because I know I'm going to learn a lesson from that, and
Yeah.
I lead in with that. I learn the fastest and the best by throwing myself to the wolves in a calculated way. You don't want to be
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
irresponsible in that motion, but I will dive in head first, and I'll get going, and I'll fail fast and fail quick and get those micro failures out of the way, so that way I can learn and fine tune things, and then you grow, right? So yeah, I mean, that's what I'm a big believer in, failing fast and learning and just growing from that.
And Roy, you're highly driven as well. This is what I appreciate about both of you. People think that in order to be highly successful and highly driven, you got to be an a-hole, and I don't believe that's true at all. I believe you can be highly driven
So
and highly successful, and people love to be around you. Why? Because that energy is infectious. That belief and confidence. That's not arrogance. It's confidence from the results you've achieved, from the work you've put in. That the ones that are projecting, those are the ones that are arrogant. Those are the ones that are jerks. But the ones who are highly successful. So what, Roy, is behind your drive? There's usually a story or two that probably goes back a good number of years of what really drives you. And then you started earning success, and that, but something kicked off that drive within you of, I am going to accomplish this. What was that one thing or those things years ago that you think really were the catalyst for you being so highly driven?
I think one of the biggest things is, I literally grew up with a single parent mom.
Mm.
She raised me and my sister, and she worked, three jobs, and she gave up everything, and she busted her butt to like to try to give me, which she actually did, the absolute best childhood like a person could have, right? In love, in it was, she put us first, right? And like you say that, as a parent, you should put your kids first. My mom did, she
Mm-hmm.
did. She sacrificed everything. So I think it was one that I knew that I wanted to become successful, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that I could give back to her. I could take care of her like as much as she took care of me. And I think the biggest thing that I want people to know is like I graduated high school with a fourth grade reading level,
Mm.
right? I didn't
Mm.
know how to read or write, right? And people told me I was going to become nothing, like, right? Like that there was a problem with me. You're stupid, you're dumb, and it is what it is, right? And the beautiful thing is, I was able to find my way. Insane. I got into the car business and I started selling cars, right? And I was good at talking to people, right? But I
Mm.
was not good at talking to people. I was good at, helping people, right? Helping them find the thing that they needed, which was a car, right? And I didn't do it as this pushy, salesy salesman. I did it as let me find what you need. Like what type of vehicle do you need? What are you going to be using it for? And, I took care of them so well with selling them a car, and I wasn't this typical car salesman
Mm-hmm.
that they literally attached onto me and said, man, Roy, if I ever buy another car, I'll buy it from you. But if I just want to let you know, my sister, my aunt, my uncle, my brother, my cousin, my friend needs a car, I'm going to send them to you, Roy, because dude, you made this seamless. Like
Mm-hmm.
I hate buying cars, and you made it seamless, right? And I think another pivotal, gigantic, enormous change was when people come in to buy a car, they fill out an application. They tell you where they live, how much their house payment is, how long they've been there. They tell you where they work, how long they've worked there, and how much money they make. And when I'm selling somebody a car and they were really successful, I just said, hey, man, I'm going to sell you a car, but you got to do me a favor. And they look at me and I said, well, what's that? And I said, you got to bring me to work one day, pretend like I'm your kid. And they were like, what? And I'm like, you got to bring me to work one day, because if you're making this much money and you've been at this job this long, you've got a secret that I need, right? And I found mentors. I found people that literally said, now, a true mentor, the absolute definition of a true mentor is a couple things. One of the things, 100%, is they're never gonna give you the answer, right? They're never going to provide you the answer to a question. They're gonna give you advice, and then they're gonna say at the end of the day, you gotta determine for yourself which way to go, path A or path B, right? That's one thing too. And then the other is that connection with that mentor, right? Like you gotta have the same level connection. They have to want to see you win, and you have to want to give to them and help them win. One of the most important things I say in a relationship is I want to be able to provide more to the person now, right, than they can provide me. I want to provide them more. I want to be the person that helps people more. And I think that's the biggest thing that we're missing in this world, right? Is you create a relationship with somebody, man, create a relationship and provide them assistance, because then they'll provide you. It's got to be a two-way street, right? And I found mentors that I provided to them as much as they were providing to me, because they saw me succeed and they were like, man, I contributed to Roy's success, right? And so it's those types of things. So I think that's, a little bit into it, saying, but it's, it's a little bit of it. So I'll kick it back to you guys.
Yeah, Spencer, I was curious about. I want to ask you a question. I I'm not like Michael Jordan where I publicly keep receipts, but I do recall things. And Roy, this came up in as you were sharing. There are things that are said about me that I know aren't true, and one of the things that drives me is to prove that what I can do and what is true about me is true. I remember some of the worst advice that I got years ago. of somebody saying you need to stay in this dead end job that's not good for your family. It's not going to meet the income goals you have, but you're at a certain age. And I was younger then. That at your age you just need to stick with something. Well, I am so glad I did not take that horrible advice. And then I've had it time and again of companies saying not skilled at sales, and yet I achieve record sales in industry with no experience. I was curious, do you have, it's not a chip on your shoulder like I'm going to prove everybody. It's like I'm going to prove that thing or that, perhaps what that person said. Maybe that person. Is there any element of that drives you, or is it only or mostly internal goals that you set for yourself? What would you say kind of drives you? Because I heard in Roy, and that kind of sparked within me that it's most self-driven. I'm mostly self-driven, but occasionally there are those things that people say or do that kind of sparks this. I'm going to go get it, and I'm not going to only prove them wrong, but I'm going to prove that I'm right.
Yeah, no, like, so in my opinion, it's a balance of both. For me personally, so like even in regards to football, right? Like I would have people talk their shit, say their things, and it would always be that chip on my shoulder to want to prove it, first and foremost for myself, but then like the cherry on top was also seeing their reaction. Did achieve it, right? So I think there's a mixture of both, and it's funny that you brought that up because this is something that I've actually thought about quite a bit, right? Even like on a deeper level, because once I saw that MJ doc and he said that, I'm like, wow, that's exactly how I've been, my entire life, with that chip on my shoulder where I have to prove. And it's one of those kind of like, tap on the ass, like, fire type of things that like gets me going. But then at some point in my life, I want to say maybe in like my mid 20s, so I'm about to be 34. Maybe in like my mid 20s, I started realizing that I was taking this chip on my shoulder, but I was building up this chip and it was becoming like a boulder, right? It was weighing me down, and like I felt like it was like this, it kind of turned from like a somewhat positive thing to like, kind of negative, where I was like obsessing about it, and I was framing it in my mind in not a healthy way. And once I started to kind of realize that and open my mind up to kind of the difference of that, I was able to get like on a better path and then continue to get back to like still having that chip, but now it's not weighing me down, right? I just have a healthier frame of mind when it comes to that type of stuff. So yeah, I would say it's a balance of both. It's like your internal goals and wanting to prove it to yourself, but also like the external, right? Like, I can show you guys type of feel. So that's kind of how I feel about that.
Yeah. I'm one of those people where it's probably part of my upbringing. In the military, it's a team thing. Individuality is not a good thing when you're out on a mission. But I think it took me a little bit to figure out, to work through. Ministry is kind of the same way. It's others first, always. And if you're not putting others first, or you don't want to be that Joel Osteen idea of like the highly successful and it's all about them. It's a big show and all that. Not that there isn't the success that he's achieved, but that's not what people that are genuinely in that for helping others, that's not what they're after. So what I'd say is this: I had to learn how to, in a way that's authentic, share with others what I've achieved. Because it was, with the military, it's not all about you. Ministry, it's definitely not all about you. But in business, there's got to be some element of you sharing who you are and what you've done that's authentic, that doesn't rub people the wrong way where they feel like this guy's all about himself. So it's a question for both of you. How did you navigate? And I had to kind of change. I had to grow beyond what those two career fields brought so that I could still be authentic but confidently share. A friend that is a business coach helped me work through that process of basically saying that elevating others rather than myself. And in the business world, why would they want to work with me if there's somebody better out there that helped me, that I point to? Rather than pointing to somebody else that's better than me, I should be, in the right way, saying why why you should take a look at, why we should have a conversation, why you should work with me. Did you, either one of you, have to navigate that space, or was it more of a challenge of how do I do this authentically so that I'm not all about myself? Curious to hear that, Spencer first.
Yeah, no. So I was a successful personal trainer for about 8 years here in the Tampa Bay area, and built up my book of business. And one of the things that I loved about that, even though like I pivoted out of the space, was I just thoroughly enjoyed helping people. Like I couldn't tell you how many text messages that I got from clients that would, say thank you so much. And as soon as I started getting those text messages, it just like it makes my hair stand up. Like it makes me feel so good because you're literally changing somebody's life. Like I hope one woman lose 105 pounds. Like that can add like a decade onto your life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So not making it about yourself, can be hard sometimes, but like once you kind of practice ways not to make it about yourself, and helping other people, right? Like Roy, you said, like with like the whole mentor thing, like even if you're there to provide value also, that it makes you feel very good. And I used to think that I had like somewhat of a hero complex, to where like I always wanted to help somebody, and it made me feel good. I actually created a brand around that name at one point, but yeah, no, I think it can't be like a self-centered thing. You have to have a really good balance, and you have to lead with like wanting to help people and solve a goal, and have like some type of purpose, but you also have to like take care of yourself. So I think it's a healthy balance, but first and foremost, leading with helping people, and having more of a community, if that makes sense.
Yeah. What would you say, Roy, in that
Yeah,
balance?
kind of,
It is, right?
kind of. So ask me the question one more time.
Yeah,
I just
yeah.
want to kind of
So
make
the
sure I.
question
Yeah,
is, see, I had to overcome coming out of environments, multiple ones, where it's not all about me. It's
yep.
elevating others, right? But in business, you've got to be very clear about why people should work with you. It's not self promotion, it's promoting your business. If your business is going to grow, you've got to be able to promote yourself in an authentic way that's not coming across as like I'm the most important person in the world, because nobody, like, other jerks like to work with other jerks. The rest of us don't. So
Absolutely.
how did you
Yes.
navigate that space of being confident, promoting yourself while being authentic?
Well, we all know, like 100%, to be the best, you have to
Mm-hmm.
surround yourself with the best. So
Uh,
being a leader, being a leader, you are a leader of a team, right?
mm-hmm.
You're a leader of an actual team. So
Mm-hmm.
I hate the word, I've always hated the word boss, right? I don't
Yeah.
like it, right? I just don't like the word boss, because I feel like a true person is a leader. They're the leader of a team. I'm not your boss, I'm your leader. Like I'm one of you. Like you're my teammate, right? I want you to be my teammate. I want you to be able to connect with me on a team level, and I want to have an open relationship where we can, yes, I am the leader. I'm not going to say I'm not. I am the leader, but I want to have an open relationship. And one of the biggest things that I think anybody can do as a leader is one, you have to have a goal, right? Yeah, a leader is a visionary, somebody that has a vision, and you have to make sure everybody buys into that vision, and everybody understands where we're going and why we're going there. And they have to make sure that they buy in. If they don't belong in that in your organization, in the company, right? Because they have to buy in, they have to love what they do every single day, and they have to want to be part of a team. But I think the most important thing that I would say, for anybody that is in an organization or wants to be part of a team, it's a team, right? So if you know something and you can accomplish something that I need you to accomplish, or if you're part of my team and you can accomplish it, yes, you could go and accomplish that. But guess what? You can also pull other teammates in, show them how to do it, because what if you're out sick and I need it done then now my other teammates. So it's helping others grow, right? It's constantly helping each other become stronger and better, right? So it's that's the culture, and that's the thing that makes great leaders, right? That's the thing that makes companies grow, because it's all about your people, right? It's all about that. And I think it comes from, me, it's this thing that everybody needs to, they need to understand these words, right? They really truly need to understand these words, and it's integrity, it's moral values, it's honor, and it's respect, right? And those things I was told at a young age that I needed to have. I didn't understand what they meant, but as I grew up, I really started understanding, and I put my life in a way that I have integrity, I have moral values, I have honor, and I have respect. And that is literally where each person needs to have those things. And you need to be 100% authentic. And like you said, you need to, the some of the things is people settle, right? They settle, and they're in a job, or they're in an organization that they don't see the vision, or they don't have the correct leader, right? And they just settle, right? And they don't have that drive to push forward, right? And that's the thing that we're talking about here. There's the secrets to success in 2025 is make sure you have the right leader, right? Make sure you have and then have that drive and that passion to do it. And anybody that is the right leader wants to see people grow. So, I mean, you can test a leader by asking them, hey, I want to become more. And if they don't, they're like, well, they don't say like you can achieve more, then they're not the right leader, right? Because people want to see people grow. They don't want to just stay stagnant. I mean, there's nobody, right, that is going to jump for joy, right? Imagine jumping for joy to go interview people that have been working. You don't see this. They don't go interview people all the time that have been working for McDonald's for 20 years and ask them why they've been working for like 20 years. Because they settled, right? They settled 10 years, 15 years, whatever. They settled. They could have become more, but they're just sitting there and they're going through life and they're just doing it. And there's people like that in this world, right? But the thing that we're trying to say is get to the next level and be around people that want to see you go to the next level. You've got to surround yourself always with the right people. And in 2025, if you're not surrounding yourself with the right people, then you really need to check yourself, right? And you need to figure out who those right people are. And because there's only, again, we just talked about this, there's only so much time in a day, right? And in my day, I want to surround myself with my loved ones that love me. I want to surround myself with my team that is helping me grow and become bigger, stronger, better. And I want to surround myself with people that I can help, right? But they can also help me. And there's motivation, and there's drive, and there's commitment. And I think that's the biggest thing that I want people to understand is check yourself, right? Check who you're hanging out with, and figure out the right people to hang out with. Figure out the people that when they meet you, you're getting excited to be around, right? You're getting excited. Just like we said, motivational videos in the morning. And then as soon as you wake up, you're saying the positive things to your wife or your kids or, your girlfriend or your boyfriend or your coworker, right? You're saying the right things because you're walking in with motivation, right? You're walking in and you're ready to tackle the day, tackle the work, right? And I think that's the thing that we gotta look at, right? That's the thing that we gotta push forward in success is those things. So this is about secrets to success. It's setting up your day. It's winning goals in a day, then it's a week, then it's a month, and it's figuring out life in a way, and it's surrounding yourself with people that drive you. Do I have a bad day? Yes. Does Spencer have a bad day? Does John have a bad day? It's that we all do. I promise you, we all do. Things don't go right in this world, right? But you got to try to push out the negativity. One thing I'll tell you right now is to never, ever, ever watch the news. Never watch the news. Like, that is the worst thing you can do. If you're a person that first thing you do in the morning is turn on the news, you better stop doing it, because it's all negative and it's all things that cannot, and you can't control these things in your day. See, that's the other thing is surround yourself in your head with things that you can control, right?
Mm-hmm.
Things that you have the ability to control. I can't control the world. I can't control the United States of America. I can't control Congress, the senators, the president. I can't control that. But you know what I can control? I can control the people I'm around that help me be successful. I can control my family, my friends, my business, my customers. I can control that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Making sure that I'm providing the best possible thing there. So that's all of it. And I'm gonna kick it over to you guys. We got about 5 more minutes. So
Yeah, boy, there's a lot in there on leadership, on time usage, on mentoring. Like, there are so many topics that we, as these conversations continue on, that would be one of those alone, like leadership alone, you could go into, because there's not just like the element of leading and influencing others, but yourself first. That aspect of leadership, that's a whole conversation there. What I think the takeaways that I'm looking forward to people getting is that what you can achieve, what we're doing by this is we're kind of setting an example of intentionally building into your life conversations with people who will build you up and help you achieve more than what you could on your own. That you're wanting to fill your life with people like that. And so that it's not that we are the most successful, we're not the most well known. It's not about being at the very top of things. It's about who you surround yourself with. That, you said it so well, Spencer, and Roy's also talked on it. It elevates you. When you're to be the best, you need to surround yourself with the best. That doesn't mean the best in the whole wide world. It means that people who are skilled, who are dedicated, who are committed, who are getting results, who are aligned with your values and how you do business, how you do life. When you surround yourself with people like that, and you're cutting off the things that are draining or taking away or distracting, that is going to guarantee you get you so much farther ahead. And that's why I think these conversations are designed to be that way. I'm curious to hear kind of your thoughts, Spencer, of expectations and what you're looking for these conversations to provide for others.
Yeah, no, I would say, like, in terms of this specific live and conversations, like, just to kind of reiterate and give people that are watching, like, some type of action item or action items. I would say, kind of to my first point, get on LinkedIn and start getting familiar with the platform and start networking as much as possible. Like, network, like an hour of your day, network. Right? Like, if you feel like you're kind of in a deficit professionally, spend an hour of your day networking, right? Building relationships, like, put some effort and time into it. Look at somebody's profile, find a commonality, reach out to them, talk about that commonality and start building rapport, right? And have a drive to do that, right? So, absolutely get on LinkedIn and start getting familiar with the platform if you're a motivated professional and if that's what you want to do and progress. And then I would say, kind of the common theme here is finding a mentor, right? Or mentors. So find somebody that you admire in the space that you want to be in, and buy him lunch, buy him dinner, buy him coffee, or her, right? Like, whatever the case may be, like, put some effort into surrounding yourself with a couple mentors that can help expedite your growth process.
Yeah. Well, you kicked us off, so you got to close us out, Roy. What are your thoughts of this session?
I just want to add on to I want to add on this to what Spencer said a little bit too. Is with LinkedIn, you have to remember you can also look in your area at LinkedIn events, like just like this is LinkedIn Live, but there's LinkedIn. People post events locally, and that's where you're going to find other business people, other business professionals that you're going to be able to talk to. And again, that's where you're going to, because a lot of people say, well, how do I find a mentor? Where do I find a mentor? a mentor, please understand, a mentor is finding somebody, anybody all the time that knows more than you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if it's a mentor that you want in a certain vertical, like a certain industry, right? Then you go to those industry preferred events, right? So if it's real estate, go to find all the real estate events and then find that mentor in those events, right? And we can add into more of that, but I kind of wanted to see that. Secrets to success in 2025. We're going to be doing this every single week. Please come back and hear. Please add us to your network if you're not part of our network. Please feel free to tell us, right, what you want to hear from us about on these sessions. Like, we're going to be doing this every Friday at noon Eastern Standard Time. So please feel free to, shoot any of us a direct message. Tell us what you want to hear from us. Tell us if you like this. Tell us what we could do to be better. I'm a light student. I always want to know what I can do to be better. Tell us how to critique ourselves. You can be harsh with me because it don't make a difference. Like, I love to learn. Maybe not my other two guys here, but me, I love to
Forever student,
learn.
baby.
So forever student, exactly. So guys, thank you so much for joining us, and we truly appreciate it, and we're super excited to start doing this every single week. 12 o'clock Fridays, Eastern Standard Time. Can't wait till the next one.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys. It was a pleasure meeting and talking with both of you. Really enjoyed it.
Likewise.